Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation with our first slide, Geography of India. Today, we'll explore the diverse landscape and physical features that make India unique. We'll look at its vast plains, mountains, rivers, and coastlines, giving you a clear picture of the country's geographical diversity. Let's get started and discover what makes India's geography so fascinating. Let's take a quick look at the contents of today's presentation. We will start by exploring the physical features of India, which form the foundation of our country's diverse landscape. Next, we will delve into the peninsular plateau, understanding its significance and characteristics. Moving on, we'll examine the Indian desert, a unique arid region with its own distinct features. Then we'll look at the Himalayan mountains, which are not only the highest peaks but also play a crucial role in our climate and geography. Following that, we'll explore the coastal plains, which are vital for agriculture and trade. We'll also cover the northern plain, known for its fertile lands and dense population. Lastly, we'll touch upon the islands, which add to India's ecological diversity. Throughout this presentation, we'll see how each of these features contributes to the overall geography and identity of India. Let's explore the physical features of India. India is incredibly diverse when it comes to its landscape. We have the towering Himalayan mountain range in the north, which forms a natural barrier and influences the climate of the region. These mountains are not just about height. They are also home to some of the world's highest peaks, like Mount Everest. Moving southward, we encounter the vast Indo-Gangetic Plain, a fertile and densely populated region that supports agriculture and civilization. Further south, the peninsular plateau, known as the Deccan Plateau, rises sharply from the coastal plains and is rich in minerals and history. Along the coastline, India features long, sandy beaches and rocky shores, which have historically facilitated trade and cultural exchange. The diverse physical features of India shape everything from its climate and agriculture to its cultural diversity, and understanding these features helps us appreciate how they influence the lives of millions of people across the country. Today, we will explore what we will study in this presentation. First, we'll start with an introduction to the geography of India. Then, we'll look at the Himalayan mountains, which are the highest mountain range in the world and form a natural border to the north. Next, we'll examine the peninsular plateau, a large and stable landmass that makes up a significant part of India's interior. We'll also discuss the major physiographic divisions, which include various landforms and regions that shape India's landscape. Moving forward, we'll explore the coastal plains, which run along the western and eastern coasts and are vital for agriculture and trade. Then, we'll look at the northern plains, known for their fertile soil and dense population, formed by the mighty rivers flowing from the Himalayas. After that, we'll conclude with a summary of our key points, emphasizing how these physical features influence India's climate, culture, and economy. We'll also study the Indian desert, a unique arid region in the northwest, and the islands, which add to India's diverse geographical landscape. By understanding these diverse physiographic regions, we get a clearer picture of India's natural features and how they shape life across the country. Welcome to this introduction slide. Here, I want to set the stage for what we're about to explore together. We'll be discussing some key points that are essential to understanding the overall theme of this presentation. I'll explain these points thoroughly but in a conversational way, so it feels engaging and easy to follow. The most important concepts will be highlighted clearly, helping us connect the dots as we go along. Remember, this is all about building a solid foundation for the rest of our discussion. So I encourage you to keep these ideas in mind as we move forward. India is a vast country, and when we talk about its geography, one of the most striking features is its diverse relief. From the towering mountains of the Himalayas in the north to the expansive plains, plateaus, and coastal regions, India's terrain is incredibly varied. This diversity plays a crucial role in shaping not just the landscape, but also the climate, agriculture, and settlement patterns across the country. Understanding these relief features helps us appreciate how the land influences life in India. For example, The mountains provide natural barriers and sources of water through glaciers and rivers, while the plains are the heart of agricultural activity. The plateaus and coastal areas each have their unique characteristics that contribute to India's overall geographic identity. Throughout this presentation, we'll see how these relief features are interconnected and how they influence the environment, economy, and culture of India. So, keep in mind that India's vastness isn't just about size. It's about a remarkable variety of landforms that make it truly unique. Now, let's explore the major physiographic divisions of India. As you can see, the physical features of our country are diverse and can be broadly classified into different physiographic regions. These divisions help us understand the unique landforms, climate, and natural resources found across India. Recognizing these divisions is essential because it gives us a clearer picture of how the landscape influences everything from agriculture to settlement patterns. Throughout this presentation, we'll see how these physiographic regions shape the life and economy of India, highlighting their importance in understanding our country's geographical identity. Let's take a closer look at the Himalayan mountains. These mountains are truly a marvel of nature, known for their immense height and breathtaking landscapes. They stretch across 5 countries: India, Nepal, Bhutan, China, and Pakistan, forming a natural barrier and influencing the climate and culture of the region. The Himalayas are home to the world's highest peaks, including Mount Everest, which stands at an astonishing 8,848 meters. This mountain range has played a crucial role in shaping the history, spirituality, and ecology of South Asia. As we explore this region, remember that the Himalayas symbolize both the physical and spiritual heights humans strive to reach. Their significance goes beyond just geography. It's about connection, challenge, and awe-inspiring natural beauty. Let's take a closer look at the characteristics of the Himalayan mountains. These are young and fold mountains, which means they are still relatively geologically active and formed by the collision of tectonic plates. This process has created some of the most impressive mountain ranges in the world. The Himalayas stretch across a vast area, running between the Indus River and the Brahmaputra River. In total, they cover about 2,400 kilometers. If you look at the Kashmir region, the width of these mountains is approximately 400 kilometers. But as you move eastward to Arunachal Pradesh, the width narrows down to around 150 kilometers. This variation in width is quite significant and reflects the complex geological history of the region. Now, these mountains aren't just a single range, but consist of 3 parallel ranges, which run along the length of the Himalayas. These are aligned based on their longitudinal extent, creating a layered structure that extends along northern India's borders. The Himalayas are renowned as one of the most rugged mountain barriers in the world. Their formidable peaks and deep valleys make them a natural boundary and a significant geographical feature of the region. Understanding these characteristics helps us appreciate the immense scale and geological significance of the Himalayas, which play a crucial role in shaping the climate, ecology, and culture of the entire region. Let's take a closer look at the Himadri Range, which is also known as the Greater Himalayas or the Inner Himalayas. This range is particularly significant because it contains all of the highest peaks in the Himalayan mountain system. It's the most continuous range, stretching across a vast area without many breaks, which makes it a dominant feature of the Himalayan landscape. The core of the Himadri Range is composed mainly of granite, a very sturdy and resilient type of rock that supports these towering peaks. The peaks here are incredible in height, with an average elevation of around 6,000 meters. Because of their extreme altitude, these mountains are perpetually covered in snow, giving them that iconic snow-capped appearance year-round. This range is central to understanding the geological and geographical significance of the Himalayas, tying into the overall story of how these mighty mountains formed and continue to shape the region. Let's take a closer look at some of the highest peaks in the Himalayan mountain ranges. As you can see in this table, Mount Everest, located in Nepal, is the tallest of them all, reaching an impressive height of 8,848 meters. This peak is often considered the ultimate challenge for mountaineers around the world. Moving down the list, Kanchenjunga in India stands at 8,598 meters, making it the second highest. It's part of the eastern Himalayan range and is renowned for its breathtaking beauty. In Nepal, Makalu reaches 8,481 meters, and Dhaulagiri, also in Nepal, is at 8,172 meters. These peaks highlight the incredible diversity and rugged terrain of the Himalayan range. Notably, Nanga Parbat in India stands at 8,126 meters, and Annapurna in Nepal is at 8,078 meters. These mountains are famous not just for their heights, but also for their challenging climbing conditions. Further down, we see peaks like Nanda Devi in India at 7,817 meters, and Kamet and Namcha Barwa in India, both at 7,756 meters. Gurla Mandhata in Nepal reaches 7,728 meters, rounding out some of the highest points in the Himalayas. This table really underscores the incredible parallel ranges within the Himalayan mountains. These peaks are not only significant for their elevation, but also for their role in shaping the geography and climate of the region. They form a natural barrier and have a profound impact on the surrounding environment and cultures. Overall, these high peaks symbolize the grandeur and challenge of the Himalayan range, connecting to our broader discussion of the mountains' geological importance and their influence on local communities and ecosystems. Let's take a closer look at the parallel ranges of the Himalayan mountains, specifically in Himachal. This region is also known as the Lesser Himalaya or Himachal. One key point to remember is that this range is about 50 kilometers wide on average, which creates a significant barrier and a distinct geographical feature. The rocks here are highly compressed and altered, reflecting the intense geological activity that formed these mountains over millions of years. Now, among these ranges, the Pir Panjal Range stands out as the longest and most important. It stretches across a vast area and plays a crucial role in the region's geography and climate. The altitude of these mountains varies between 3,700 and 4,500 meters, making them quite high and challenging to traverse. Finally, some of the most famous valleys in Himachal Pradesh are Kashmir, Kulu Valley, and Kangra Valley. These valleys are not only breathtakingly beautiful, but also vital for agriculture, tourism, and local culture. Understanding these ranges helps us appreciate the complexity and grandeur of the Himalayan mountain system as a whole. Let's take a closer look at the parallel ranges of the Himalayan mountains, starting with the Shiwaliks. This is the outermost range of the Himalayas. It typically rises to altitudes between 900 and 1,100 meters, making it relatively low compared to the other ranges. The valleys in this region are usually filled with thick gravel and alluvium, which are deposits left behind by rivers. These sediments are brought down from the main Himalayan ranges, creating a fertile and dynamic landscape. The width of the Shiwaliks varies from about 10 to 15 kilometers, which is quite significant when you consider the vastness of the Himalayas. An interesting feature here are the duns. These are long, narrow valleys that run between the Lesser Himalayas and the Shiwaliks. Examples include Dera Dun, Patli Dun, and Kotli Dun. These valleys are important for their unique geographical and ecological characteristics, and they also play a vital role in the movement and settlement patterns in the region. Overall, the Shiwaliks serve as the gateway to the higher Himalayan ranges and are crucial in understanding the mountain's geological and geographical structure. Let's take a closer look at the regional divisions of the Himalayan mountains. The Himalayas have been categorized based on their geographical regions, moving from west to east. This division helps us understand the diversity and complexity of this immense mountain range. As we go through these regions, keep in mind how each one contributes uniquely to the overall landscape, climate, and culture of the Himalayas. Understanding these divisions is key to appreciating the range's vastness and significance in the broader context of the world's mountain systems. Let's take a closer look at the regional divisions of the Himalayan mountains, starting with the Punjab Himalayas, which are situated between the Indus and Satluj rivers. This region is often referred to as the Kashmir Himalayas and Himachal Himalayas, highlighting its geographical and cultural significance. Moving eastward, we come to the Kumon Himalayas, lying between the Satluj and Kali rivers. This area is known for its rugged terrain and unique ecological features. Next, we have the Nepal Himalayas, which extend between the Kali and Teesta rivers. This region is home to some of the world's highest peaks and is central to the Himalayan range's overall structure. Continuing further east, the Assam Himalayas lie between the Teesta and Dihang rivers. This section of the Himalayas features distinct geological characteristics and forms part of the eastern Himalayan system. Finally, we reach the easternmost boundary known as Purvanchal. Here, the Brahmaputra River marks the eastern edge of India. Beyond the Dihang Gorge, the Himalayas bend sharply southward and spread along India's eastern boundary. This region, called Purvanchal, is composed mainly of strong sedimentary rocks, specifically sandstones. It includes notable hill ranges like the Patkai Hills, Naga Hills, Manipur Hills, and Mizo Hills. Understanding these divisions helps us appreciate the diverse geography and geological makeup of the Himalayan region, which is essential to grasp the overall structure and complexity of these majestic mountains. Let's take a closer look at the Northern Plain. This region is one of the most expansive and fertile areas, playing a crucial role in agriculture and settlement. Its flat landscape makes it ideal for farming, which supports a large population and contributes significantly to the economy. The Northern Plain also acts as a natural corridor, facilitating transportation and communication across the country. Understanding this region helps us see how geography influences human activity and development, which ties back to the overall theme of how physical features shape our societies. Let's take a closer look at the characteristics of the Northern Plain. This vast region has been primarily formed by three major river systems: the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. These mighty rivers have deposited rich alluvial soil over time, creating a fertile and productive land. The plain itself stretches about 2,400 kilometers in length and varies between 240 to 320 kilometers in width. It's actually the most densely populated physiographic division, which makes sense given its fertile land and water resources. Covering an area of around 7 lakh square kilometers, this plain is incredibly important for agriculture and settlement. The combination of rich soil and adequate water supply makes it highly productive agriculturally, supporting the livelihoods of millions. This region truly exemplifies how natural river systems shape and sustain some of the most vital parts of our country. Rivers coming from the Himalayas play a crucial role in depositional work, especially as they reach the lower course. When they enter this region, the slope becomes much gentler, and as a result, the velocity of the river slows down significantly. This slowdown causes the river to deposit the sediments it carries, which leads to the formation of riverine islands. A notable example of this is Majuli in the Brahmaputra River, which is actually the largest inhabited river island in the world. Now, as these rivers progress further downstream, they often split into multiple channels. These are called distributaries, and they form because of the ongoing deposition of silt. The process of sediment settling out causes the main channel to split into these smaller branches. This splitting not only shapes the landscape, but also influences local ecosystems and human settlements. Overall, these depositional features, like river islands and distributaries, are key to understanding how rivers shape the land over time and how they influence the surrounding environment. Let's take a closer look at the sections of the Northern Plain. As the name suggests, this region is divided into 3 main sections, each with its own unique features and significance. Understanding these divisions helps us grasp how the Northern Plain functions as a whole and why it plays such an important role in the broader landscape. So, as we go through each section, I'll highlight key points and connect them to the overall theme of the presentation. This division not only reflects geographic distinctions, but also influences the economic activities, settlement patterns, and environmental considerations in the area. By the end of this slide, you'll see how these sections contribute to the region's diversity and importance. Let's take a look at the different sections of the Northern Plain. First, we have the Punjab Plain, which is the western part of the Northern Plain. This region has been formed mainly by the Indus River and its tributaries. Interestingly, a larger part of this plain lies in Pakistan, but the rivers originate from the Himalayas. The main rivers here are the Indus, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas, and Satluj. These rivers have carved out a fertile land, especially in the Doab, which is the land between two rivers, an important agricultural zone. Moving eastward, we come to the Ganga Plain. This section extends between the Ghaggar and Teesta rivers. It covers a broad area including states like Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and parts of Jharkhand and West Bengal. The Ganga Plain is crucial for its dense population and rich farmland, making it a vital part of the overall Indian landscape. Finally, we have the Brahmaputra Plain, which is especially significant in Assam. The Brahmaputra River flows through this plain, creating a unique landscape that supports diverse ecosystems. This region is known for its lush greenery and is vital for agriculture and biodiversity. Together, these sections of the northern plain form the backbone of northern India and Pakistan, shaping the culture, agriculture, and economy of the region. Let's now look at the division of the northern plain according to relief features. Starting with the Babar, this is a narrow belt, about 8 to 16 kilometers wide, that runs parallel to the slopes of the Shiwaliks. It forms because rivers coming down from the mountains deposit pebbles in this area. Interestingly, all the streams disappear here, flowing into this belt and then vanishing. Moving southward, we encounter the Bangar. This is the largest part of the northern plain and is made up of older alluvium. It lies above the floodplains, giving it a terrace-like appearance. The soil here contains calcareous deposits, which are locally called kankar. This region is quite significant because it forms a stable, older landscape. Just south of the Bangar, we find the Tarai. Here, the streams and rivers reemerge, creating a wet, swampy, and marshy zone. Historically, this was a densely forested area teeming with wildlife. Over time, most of these forests have been cleared to make way for agriculture and settlements, especially after the partition when migrants from Pakistan settled here. Finally, we have the Khadar. These are the newer, younger deposits of the floodplain. Because they are renewed almost every year by flooding, they are extremely fertile. This fertility makes the Khadar ideal for intensive agriculture, supporting the densely populated regions of the plain. So, in summary, the relief features from north to south include the Babar, Bangar, Tarai, and Khadar, each with distinct characteristics that influence land use and settlement patterns across the northern plain. Now, let's take a closer look at the Peninsular Plateau. This is one of the most significant geographical features of our country. It's a vast area, characterized by its elevated terrain, which has played a crucial role in shaping the region's climate, agriculture, and even settlement patterns. The plateau is essentially a large tableland, surrounded by various mountain ranges, which have protected it and contributed to its unique landscape. Understanding this plateau helps us see how the geography influences everything from the natural environment to human activity. As part of the overall landscape, it connects many regions and has been a key factor in the development of Indian civilization. Let's take a closer look at the characteristics of the Peninsular Plateau. This region is essentially a tableland, meaning it has a relatively flat surface. But what's interesting is that it's made up of very old rocks, crystalline, igneous, and metamorphic rocks. These rocks tell us about the ancient geological history of the area. Now, moving on to the divisions of the Peninsular Plateau. The plateau is divided into two broad regions, and this division is primarily due to the geological processes that occurred when Gondwana land broke apart and drifted away. This drifting of landmasses is what makes this part of the Indian subcontinent one of the oldest landmasses on Earth. You'll also notice that the landscape features broad and shallow valleys along with rounded hills. These features were shaped over millions of years by weathering and erosion, giving the plateau its distinctive gentle slopes and rolling terrain. Understanding these characteristics helps us appreciate the geological stability and the ancient origins of the Peninsular Plateau, which are key to understanding the overall geological framework of India. Let's take a closer look at the divisions of the Peninsular Plateau, starting with the Central Highlands. This region is essentially the part of the peninsular plateau that lies to the north of the Nirmada River. It covers a significant area of the Malwa Plateau, which is quite an important feature of this region. The Central Highlands are interesting because they are wider in the west and gradually become narrower as we move eastward. This variation in width influences the landscape and the types of vegetation found there. Now, a key feature of this region is the Vindhyan Range, which runs across the plateau. It's bounded by the Satpura Range to the south and the Aravalli Range in the northwest. These mountain ranges act as natural boundaries, shaping the geography of the Central Highlands. Additionally, if we look further eastward, these extensions of the plateau are called by local names such as Bundelkhand and Baghilkhand. These areas have their own distinct cultural and geographical identities, but they are part of the broader Central Highlands region. Understanding these divisions helps us see how the landscape of the peninsular plateau is organized and how it influences the climate, agriculture, and settlements in these areas. Now, let's look at the divisions of the peninsular plateau, starting with the Deccan Plateau. The Deccan is a large triangular landmass located south of the Nirmada River. It's quite distinctive in shape and size. One key feature to remember is that the Deccan Plateau is higher in the west and gradually slopes downwards towards the east. This means the western part is elevated, and as you move eastward, the land gently descends. Surrounding this plateau, you'll find some important mountain ranges. To the north, there's the Satpura Range, which forms its broad northern base. Moving eastward, the plateau is flanked by the Mahadev, Khmer Hills, and the Makel Range. These hills extend along its eastern edge and contribute to the rich geographical diversity of the region. On the western and eastern sides of the Deccan Plateau, you'll notice the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats. These mountain ranges mark the boundaries of the plateau on both sides, acting as natural barriers. They also influence the climate and rainfall patterns of the region. So, in summary, the Deccan Plateau is a central feature of the peninsular plateau, characterized by its triangular shape, varying elevation, and surrounded by significant mountain ranges that define its boundaries. The Western Ghats are a prominent mountain range that run parallel to the western coast of India. They are notably higher than their eastern counterparts, the Eastern Ghats, with an average elevation ranging from about 900 to 1,600 meters. This elevation difference makes them quite significant in the geography of the region. The Western Ghats are continuous mountain ranges, which means they form an unbroken chain, but crossing them requires passing through specific mountain passes. If we look from north to south, you'll notice that the height of these mountains gradually increases. In fact, some of the highest peaks in the Western Ghats include Anai Muti, which rises to 2,695 meters, and Dota Beta at 2,637 meters. These towering heights have a major impact on the local climate, especially through a process called orographic rainfall. As moist winds from the ocean move inland and encounter the Western Ghats, they are forced to rise along the slopes. This causes the air to cool and release moisture, leading to heavy rainfall on the western slopes, which is crucial for the region's lush greenery and biodiversity. So, the Western Ghats are not only geographically significant, but also vital in shaping the climate and ecological balance of Western India. The Eastern Ghats have an average elevation of about 600 meters, which makes them a significant feature in the eastern part of India. Unlike the Western Ghats, they are quite discontinuous and irregular in shape. You can see how they are dissected by numerous rivers that drain into the Bay of Bengal, creating a rugged and varied landscape. These mountains stretch from the Mahanadi Valley in the north all the way down to the Nilgiris in the south, forming an essential part of the eastern coastal region. The highest peak in the Eastern Ghats is Mahendragiri, which rises to 1,501 meters. Understanding these features helps us appreciate how they influence local climate, biodiversity, and even human activities across the region. Let's take a closer look at the Deccan Trap, which is a key feature of the peninsular plateau. You can see that it's characterized by a large area of black soil. Now, what makes this area particularly interesting is its volcanic origin. The rocks here are igneous, meaning they formed from cooled lava or magma. Over time, these volcanic rocks have been worn down through natural processes, a process we call denudation. This gradual wearing away has played a crucial role in forming the rich black soil that we see today in this region. This black soil is not only unique to the Deccan Trap, but also important for agriculture and soil fertility in this part of India. So, in essence, the volcanic origin and subsequent geological processes have shaped this distinctive feature of the peninsular plateau, connecting it to the broader theme of geological diversity across our landscape. Let's take a closer look at the Indian desert. This vast arid region is a fascinating part of our discussion today. The Indian desert, also known as the Thar Desert, stretches across northwestern India and southeastern Pakistan. It covers an area of about 200,000 square kilometers, making it one of the largest deserts in the world. Despite its harsh climate, it supports a unique ecosystem and a rich cultural history. The desert's landscape is characterized by sandy dunes, sparse vegetation, and salt lakes. It plays a significant role in the region's climate and agriculture. Understanding this desert helps us appreciate how environments adapt and sustain life, even in challenging conditions. Throughout our presentation, we've seen how deserts like the Indian desert influence human activity, biodiversity, and regional development. Let's talk about the characteristics of the Indian desert. It lies towards the western margins of the Aravalli Hills, which act as a natural boundary. The climate here is quite arid, meaning it's very dry, and as a result, there is low vegetation cover, making the landscape look quite barren. The desert is mainly covered with sand dunes, which are a defining feature of this region. Interestingly, the only large river flowing through this area is the Luni River. It plays an important role in sustaining some life and activity in the desert, even though rainfall is quite scarce. In fact, this region receives very low rainfall, typically less than 150 millimeters per year, which classifies it as a true desert. You'll notice different types of dunes across the desert. Barkhans, which are crescent-shaped dunes, cover larger areas, especially in the central parts. As you move closer to the Indo-Pakistan border, the dunes become more longitudinal or elongated, and these become more prominent. All these features, low rainfall, sand dunes, and the arid climate, are key to understanding the unique environment of the Indian desert and how it fits into the larger landscape of India. Let's take a closer look at the coastal plains. These areas are known for their flat, low-lying terrain that stretches along the coast. They typically feature rich, fertile soil, making them ideal for agriculture. You'll find a mix of forests, wetlands, and sandy beaches here, which support diverse ecosystems. The coastal plains have historically been important for trade and settlement because of their accessibility and resources. Connecting this to our overall theme, these regions highlight how geography influences economic activities and the development of communities. The flat landscape also makes transportation and communication easier, fostering growth and connection within these areas. Let's take a closer look at the coastal plains. These areas are characterized by flat, low-lying land that stretches along the coast. They're known for their fertile soil, which makes them ideal for farming and agriculture. The coastal plains also serve as important regions for trade and transportation, thanks to their proximity to the ocean. When we think about the overall geography, the coastal plains play a vital role in both the economy and the environment. They connect inland regions to the coast, providing a bridge for movement of goods and people. So, understanding these plains helps us see how geography influences economic activities and settlement patterns along the coast. Let's take a closer look at the characteristics of the coastal plains. The peninsular plateau, as you know, is a significant part of our geography, but it's flanked on both sides by narrow strips of land along the coastlines. On the west, we have the Arabian Sea, and on the east, the Bay of Bengal. These coastal strips are quite narrow, but they play a vital role in the region's geography and economy. They are characterized by their flat and low-lying terrain, which makes them distinct from the plateau interior. These coastal plains are important for many reasons, including agriculture, trade, and transportation. They also influence the climate along the coastlines, often leading to higher humidity and monsoon effects. Connecting these points helps us understand how the peninsular plateau and the coastal regions together shape the overall landscape of the area. Let's take a closer look at the characteristics of the coastal plains. Starting with the western coast, this region is quite narrow because it's squeezed between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. The western coast is divided into three main sections. The northern part is called the Konkan, stretching from Mumbai to Goa. It's known for its lush greenery and rocky coastline. Moving south, we have the Kannada Plain, which is a bit more central and is important for agriculture and trade. Finally, in the southern stretch, we find the Malabar coast, famous for its spices and rich history. Now, shifting our focus to the eastern coast, you'll notice these plains are much wider and more level compared to the western coast. The northern part is known as the Northern Sircar, and further south, we have the Coromandel coast. This region is characterized by large rivers like the Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, and Kaveri. These rivers have created extensive deltas, making the land fertile and ideal for agriculture. An important feature here is Lake Chilika in Odisha, which is the largest saltwater lake in India. It lies south of the Mahanadi Delta and plays a vital role in the local ecosystem and economy. Connecting all these points, the coastal plains are crucial because they support diverse ecosystems, agriculture, and trade routes, making them vital to India's overall geography and development. Now, let's turn our attention to the islands. When we think about these landmasses, it's important to recognize their unique role within the broader context of our discussion. Islands often serve as microcosms, reflecting larger environmental, cultural, or economic themes on a smaller scale. They can be hotspots for biodiversity, but also vulnerable to climate change and human activity. Understanding the dynamics of islands helps us grasp the importance of sustainable practices and conservation efforts. These points tie back to our overall theme of balancing development with preservation. So, as we explore the islands further, keep in mind how their stories mirror the larger challenges and opportunities we face globally. Let's take a closer look at the islands, starting with the Lakshadweep. This group of islands is situated quite close to the Malabar coast of Kerala, making it easily accessible from the mainland. The Lakshadweep Islands are made up of small coral islands, which gives them a unique and delicate ecosystem. Interestingly, these islands were previously known by different names, Laccadive, Minicoy, and Amandive, but in 1973, they were officially renamed Lakshadweep, meaning 100,000 islands. Despite their name, they cover a relatively small area of just 32 square kilometers. The administrative headquarters of Lakshadweep is located on Kavaratti Island, which serves as the main hub for governance and administration. Now, moving on to the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. These are quite different in character. They form an elongated chain of islands stretching across the Bay of Bengal from north to south. They are larger in size compared to Lakshadweep and are more numerous and scattered across a broader area. The group is generally divided into two main categories, the Andaman Islands in the north and the Nicobar Islands in the south. One of the most remarkable features of this group is that India's only active volcano is found on Barren Island, which is part of the Andaman Islands. This volcanic activity adds a fascinating geological aspect to the region, highlighting its unique natural features within the overall Indian island territories. Thank you for joining me as we wrap up this presentation. In this conclusion, I want to emphasize the key points we've covered. First, we've explored how understanding these concepts thoroughly can really impact our approach and decision-making. It's important to remember that the most valuable insights often come from connecting the dots across different ideas we've discussed. Throughout this presentation, the main theme has been about leveraging knowledge to drive better outcomes. So I encourage you to take these takeaways and think about how they apply to your own work or projects. Remember, the goal is to use this information to inform smarter choices and foster growth. Thank you again for your attention and engagement. So, as we come to the conclusion, it's clear that the diverse physical features of our land hold enormous potential for the future. The mountains, for instance, are not just scenic. They are the major sources of water and forests, which are vital for our resources and environment. The northern plains have historically been the granaries of the country, providing the fertile land that supported early civilizations and still plays a crucial role in agriculture today. Moving to the plateau, it acts as a storehouse of minerals, which are essential for our industrial growth and development. Lastly, the coastal regions and island groups are important for fishing and port activities, making them key to trade and economy. Overall, understanding these features helps us see how each region contributes uniquely to our country's progress and future.